Hi everyone, Tom Wilmot here, and wanted to give you a quick update. I have not recorded a video recently. I thought I'd share one today, August 3rd, 2018. We had the jobs report this morning at 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time in the U.S., and I put up a chart of the U.S. and dollar and Japanese yen just to quickly review, even when a fundamental announcement occurs, how you can be kind of on the right side of the trade with this system of software and indicators that I've produced for you. Let's just quickly review some of the things that are going on here. First of all, this long line has been printed by one of my indicators when the 12 and the 24 EMA cross over to the downside. And you can see that that occurs right here. This is another indicator that I have. You don't need them if you can watch it visually, but I produced these for myself to try to keep track of it visually. Bottom line is that it means that this yellow 12 EMA is crossed over the blue 24. And so therefore also when that first happens, this line is drawn on the chart. And when, to follow up on the book that I published on Amazon.com, the Zeelander trading system book, this red down arrow indicates that not only has the 12 crossed over the 24, but follow on to that the full set of moving averages, the cluster of moving averages has crossed down below this threshold. That's a confirmation that in fact we are to the downside. We also see that a momentum indicator I added here, which is in MetaTrader, easily available, has fallen below 100. And also the MACD is printing red downward bars below the zero line. So as a result of that, you know that you're not wanting right now to take a long trade, a buy of the US dollar, unless you're interested in kind of a counter trend move. And that would be something of this sort, a pull back into the bands. That's the counter trend move. So bottom line is that's going to have less impact, it's going to have less possibility than the full-blown move to the downside. This is going to be a fewer number of pips than the potential push to the downside. Let's continue on. This line here represents, this vertical bar represents the 3 o'clock in the morning London open. And as you can see, we had one pop here for some reason during the London trading session, but that I was sound asleep. I hope you were too. Anyway, to continue on, this is 7 a.m. Eastern, and so you can see as we were beginning to move into the time when the announcement was made at 8:30, we're pushing downward. We have downward pressure. Then we reach a stabilization point, but this is one of those things that I would be calling, oops, there's another indicator from another program as we begin to close out the afternoon. But bottom line here, we're having these dancing, the bats in the cave versus the dancing on the ceiling kind of indicator. This is creating a balance area below our threshold. That's a bearish sign. We pull back up into the bands, but can't penetrate through them. We can't penetrate through the 58 EMA, which is a longer term downward indicator here that's protecting us for an upside surge. And you can see here, which is at 8:30 exactly, the downward thrust of pips as the jobs report is announced at 158 as opposed to over 200,000 jobs created, which is what was expected. We fall down to another one of these balance areas below, and it always ends up that when you finally run into the 12 over in this area, there's continued pressure to the downside. And throughout the morning, from the time of the announcement, even if you'd only gotten in here, you'd have a pullback of 8 pips potentially, which is not very much of a risk to reward, maybe 14 back up to the 58 EMA, and the downward thrust could be as much as 34 pips to the downside, so you have 10, versus 34, 14 versus 34. So it's at least a 2-to-1 risk-reward ratio. This is a 5-minute chart with the USJPY. So I hope that update helps to confirm some of the things we discussed in the book, the Zeelander Fly Trap Trading System on Amazon. I hope you're getting some good value from that information. If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll do my best to get as many updates on as possible. Thank you. Have a great weekend.